So we're gonna address these bandwagon commentators. You know, the ones that soon as like somebody's winning, they just jump on. They like, oh yeah, they gonna win. They gonna win this. They ain't got like no evidence, but they just jump on because it just sound good. So even in I posted in the beginning, like I posted a comment. I said this seems like the Detroit Pistons against the Los Angeles Lakers. 2004. And you got people that they were old. Shaq and Kobe wasn't that old. And you talking about Gary Payton? He still went down to 2006. What, 2 years later, and still won a championship with Dwayne Wade? People just be talking, man, just to be talking. So, but we're gonna talk about what the Raptors proved with their win. What they proved was the Golden State Warriors cannot win a championship without Kevin Durant. Hashtag anymore. Now I know some gonna say, "Oh, well, they won first." Yes, they did. They won without Durant. But when they faced the Cavs that year and they lost, mentally they weren't ready. So y'all need proof, right? So if you look it up, Draymond Green goes into the parking lot. He called Bob Myers and says, "Hey, we need to get Kevin Durant." This is right after they end up losing. He's in his vehicle, so he calls him and says, "We need to get him." Then, being anxious, he called Kevin Durant himself. And they end up setting up a meeting, which they all went up and stayed with him in the Hamptons. That's why they got the Hampton Five. The article says that Clay, Draymond Green, Steph, and Iguodala was talking about taking the back seat, just so they can win championships. You got to understand, see, people talk about numbers don't lie. So, that what I think they are 8-9 with Kevin Durant, and they're 9-1. Well, they're 8-9 without Kevin Durant playing in the finals, and 9-1 when he plays. So you got to look at it. I mean, that's the reason why they recruited him. I mean, this is why, the owner ended up pushing Kyle Lowry, because he knew they were on the verge of losing. So you got to look at it. Game one, Kyle Lowry really didn't play to his potential. He did shoot a meaningless three at the end of the game. But it was meaningful for him because it got his confidence. So, and that's why, you had the owner pushing him, because Kyle Lowry started to come to play. Now, had Kyle Lowry would have hit that owner, watch this, because everybody thought he was a fan at first, that he would have got kicked out the game. He would have got suspended. They would have had to. I mean, just ask yourself. I mean, even Durant said in his own, when he was asked by the commentators, or the sports analysis, they asked him, he said it's always been Durant and the Warriors. Now think about this. Kevin Durant came to the Warriors so that he could win championships, right? But now he's leaving. He's leaving to go somewhere else. So it must be something in that locker room. And see, this is what's going to happen. See, we're going to talk about, brobible.com by Jorge Alonso. This is an article. This is from David West. He said this is after they won, after they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then we know that Kyrie ended up leaving. There were some things this is his quote, David West. There were some things internally when you guys find out about that that S, what, you'll trip. It's a, and then Green acknowledged that the Warriors went through a lot of the season. Quote, he said, "It is because of what we had to go through." Green said, "We went through so much adversity mentally, injuries, complacency, you name it. We went through it." Sean Livingston credited Golden State coach Steve Kerr for dealing with all of our BS this year. So you got to understand, it was a lot that they were dealing with, And I mean, think about it. The fact that Kevin Durant is on his way out, then on top of that, remember doing that, there was a season where, Draymond Green said, this is a quote, "We don't need you. We won without you. Leave." So see, Draymond Green got suspended that game. But he forgot the reason why they recruited Durant in the first place. But, you got to give hats off to the Raptors. They came out and they played. I mean, you even looking at Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, he was talking to his coach, and his coach, had told him, he said, "Hey, let's go up to Golden State and we got to split." And, Kawhi was like, "Why not just get both?" When you have that. But you know what I say? I mean, I know it makes sense for him to stay in Toronto. I mean, with him making that amount of money and then 22 games he didn't have to play. Can you imagine showing up to work? It was something ridiculous, like over 285,000 like per game or something. This dude was getting, and he didn't have to work. Can you imagine coming to work? They like, oh, you could just take off. Not only that, the Raptors trying to give him everything. But I mean, I understand. I mean, his family is in LA and he does have, uh, you know, a house there as well. And, even I guess his brand New Balance would rather have him be in LA, and I mean, honestly, I mean, he paid his dues. So if he decides to go to another team, then he can do whatever he want to do. But like I said, that's what they proved, that, if you just, I tell people all the time, defense wins championships. And, it was funny because nobody started mentioning injuries until they started losing. Nobody was saying that in the beginning of the season, with the beginning of the, when they were playing the Blazers and they ran through that, nobody was saying that. But as soon as you start to get hurt, but you can see they just really wasn't, they wasn't mentally prepared. They wasn't running. If you see game one, Steve Kerr was telling them, run. And they had all them days off and stuff like that, and I saw that, and then you look at, what they did was, the Warriors eliminated their threat in the West, which was Kevin Durant, and then they eliminated their threat in the East, which was Kyrie and LeBron. And, if you look at Harrison Barnes' wedding, Kyrie and Curry was making fun. And then, Kyrie wanted to go perfect his craft and do his own thing. And then we see how quickly he called LeBron and apologized and said, and listen, and now he's going somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense really for him to try to go back with LeBron, but I understand, if that's not something he want to do, then that's cool. But like I said, that's what really, proved, what the Raptors did, that listen, defense wins championships, and, everybody stepped up. One game, Siakam stepped up, in honor of his father. Again, these bandwagon commentators were talking about, oh, Van Vliet had up that 7-3 thing. He'll never be able to do that again. Like, he had a baby, like, he just went off, like, what I'm saying? He stepped up, Kyle Lowry stepped up when he needed to. Ibaka turned into the old Ibaka when he was at OKC, 6 blocks getting points. I mean, though he was denying points, you had the center, Gasol, saying he was doing what he had to do. I mean, Danny Green, like, Shaq ended up talking to him like, what you doing, man? Like, everybody came to play and they just out hustled him, I know some people are like, well, the Warriors can win without they were 73 and 9. Okay, he should listen to Curry should listen to Jordan. Jordan told him, don't forget the ring. I mean, they was up 3-1 to the Cavs. All they had to do was win one more. So, you know what? They're gonna have to prove it. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they're gonna do pretty much. And so, now the West is open, and because the Warriors are struggling in the finals, you had the Rockets having talks with D'Antoni again. But yeah, so that's what, like I said, that's what proved. So, I mean, the numbers speaks for itself. I mean, what they said, Curry was 0 for 9 with 24 seconds left in the game. I mean, numbers don't lie. I mean, yeah, I definitely give it to him. He's the greatest shooter of all time. I mean, man can pull up from anywhere, But like I said, I mean, everybody, needs help. Even that game he had 47, and he couldn't do it by himself. The team really wasn't going 110%, and he was out there playing by himself, and he can't do it by himself. So that's what I look at. You comment below if you got something to say, but if you're a bandwagon commentator, it's all good.